Hey everyone, how's it going today? Coach Danny Alvarez Jitsu, Arlington, Texas. Just finished up some Sunday training just a little while ago. Small group, but really tough group. Had about 4 black belts, brown belt, purple belt, and a couple white belts. Small class, but definitely was not an easy class. It was it's pretty tough training for a Sunday, and kind of just wanted to go over one of the questions that I got yesterday from one of my students, and I get it pretty frequently from different people, different students, and then I also get, because I do compete so much on a regular basis, when do things start to click? When did things start to click for me in tournaments? To try to give someone some type of gauge of some sort of when things might click for them, whether it's just jiu-jitsu training, when they might feel good, or tournament-wise. And the answer is pretty tough. It's kind of hard to answer that because I've been training for so long consistently that I try to break it down like in like different belt levels. I know when, for instance, like when I was a white belt, I already had like wrestling experience. I had wrestled in high school before I found jiu-jitsu. And so I was already kind of familiar with the ground game somewhat, right? But when I started jiu-jitsu, I would still make mistakes, turn over to my stomach because that's what wrestlers do. They don't want to be on their back, get pinned. And I would get choked out. Or I'd do a good takedown, shoot in, get a good double leg, and then get guillotined, get a good takedown, land in the guard, and get arm barred. The list goes on. Start to feel good, at white belt, then you get to blue belt, and, it's like starting a new grade all over again. You're at the bottom of the totem pole. You're tough, you're pretty good, understand a little bit more jiu-jitsu, but then you got people that have been training longer, been at blue belt longer, and you might have some good days, and then you go against some higher level blue belts, and you're getting your butt handed to you, getting over, you're getting worked, and then it kind of goes through that through each belt rank. It's a never-ending process of you're always under construction, is what I'm trying to say. You're always under construction. It's like the road or the highway is just never really finished. It's just a constant reconstruction of your game, your mental game as well. It's one of, lately I've been talking about all the great benefits of jiu-jitsu and what it does for you during like some tough moments in your life and things like that, how it can help you. But one thing is for sure, it is one of the most super frustrating things that you will ever do. I also had, a parent yesterday was asking me about their child because they didn't look like their child was really doing too much, or looked like they could have tried harder or did better. And I was trying to explain to this parent, like, it's a lot harder than what it looks like from the sidelines. Their child was really trying. At least I felt so as a coach. I know when a kid is trying and when they're not trying. And the kid was trying. It's just, they were getting tapped left and right. They were getting kind of dominated. They were getting mounted. But they've only been training a couple months. They got to go through the process just like everyone else does. And sometimes the first reaction for an adult or a kid is to quit because it's like, hey, look, I'm not used to this. I know I've had numerous adults that were really good in other things, other sports, prior to jiu-jitsu. So they kind of come in with that mindset like they're just going to already be good in jiu-jitsu too. And that's not the case. Same thing with the parents and the child. They think because their kid is like a beast on the football field or basketball or court or whatever sport they're playing, that their kid's just going to come in here and just like do work, and actually they're getting worked. They're getting smashed and dominated and tapped out, and there's some tears and some stuff like that, and that's tough for a parent to watch their child go through that. But it's something that they must go through. Same thing with the adults. I have adults that have been training numerous years, and you feel good on certain days, and then there's certain days where you're like, man, I don't want to be like, I want to give my belt back. I know I felt like that at certain times where, like, you just come in and it just, nothing's clicking, nothing's working, and you walk out of here with your head down, and you just want to give your belt back and, like, man, or take some stripes off your belt. But that's the wrong mindset, and that's just a weak mindset. That's just because your mind is weak and you just had a rough day, and so right away you want to do, like, you want to react silly. That's like a silly reaction, right? And then when you come to your senses, and it's like, look, the answer is it's like this. You got to just focus on why you love jiu-jitsu. What is it that you love about jiu-jitsu? And that should be the main focus, where sometimes we get focused on, like, we all want to be good. We all want to be the best. None of us want to lose. We don't want to get tapped. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. The room that I was just in today, the guys that just showed up, I'm their coach. I've been teaching these guys since since the beginning, and I have more than twice as many years as experience as these guys that were training earlier, and they were giving me a really hard time. It's tough once you understand jiu-jitsu and you've been in the game for a while. It doesn't matter how long you've been training, the gap starts to close quite a bit, and the room gets really tough. And so, I guess that also depends on where you're training at too, right? Like, if the room is tough, the atmosphere is tough, the coaching's tough, there's no easy roles. No matter where you look, no matter where you go to, you're gonna think that your jiu-jitsu sucks sometimes, and that's just the truth. And really, in reality, it doesn't. It's just the fact that, these guys are, whoever's in the room with you are learning the same things you're learning. They're getting the same advice you're getting, and they're being pushed the same way you're being pushed. And, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard on certain days. I felt really good today. Meaning, like, I felt like I got good sleep. Went to bed kind of early last night, on a Saturday night, so I could get up and train, and I was watching jiu-jitsu videos, and I had my breakfast, and I had all my greens, and I'd like coconut water. Like, I did all this stuff before practice today. I'm coming in thinking, like, yeah, man, it's going to be a good day today. And it was kinda, I struggled a lot today with some of my black belts, one of my brown belts, and even purple belt, and if you put that in perspective, you're like, hey, man, look, I've been training for 20 years. This one guy's been training for about 5 years. The other guy's been training 8 years. The other guy's like 10 years or something like that. And the other one, I think, was like 14. If you look at it as years and how long I've been training, I should be mopping the floor with these guys because I have way more experience. I've been training, and I've never taken a break. Like, oh, my work life got in the way and I just quit jiu-jitsu for a while. That's never happened to me. I've never let life happen. I've always been on the mats training, trying to find jiu-jitsu. And here I get in the mat with these guys, and they're my students, and, they're tough as nails, and there's quite a few rolls a day where I'm frustrated because it's like, man, I'm trying to get some things to work, and they're just not working. Everything's getting shut down. I'm having to push really hard. I'm getting put in bad positions. I'm having to fight out of bad positions, but that's the nature of the game. That's what jiu-jitsu does to you. It's like it takes you, I was telling one of the parents yesterday, like it breaks you down. I don't care how good you are or what you've done in the past. Every day is a different day. Jiu-jitsu will break you down all the way down to nothing, to where you just feel kind of worthless and like you just suck. And it will build you back up. Your teammates in jiu-jitsu will build you back up to where you start building a mentality, a different mindset. Like, you'll have a mindset of like, yeah, not today. Like I know I'm good. I know I'm tough. I know I'm going to have bad days. And when those bad days come on the mat, my mind, I've been through so many bad days that I know that it's just part of the game, and that I just know I got to push through. Where when you first start jiu-jitsu, you're not used to those bad days. You're not used to getting beat like that. You're not used to losing that kind of way, someone imposing their will on you and dominating you like that. So the first reaction is to want to quit, you know. And like I was telling one of the parents yesterday, I was like, you know, you have to leave your child in this thing long enough to really get the benefits from it. You know, again, the first reaction, 6 months in, a year in, is not long enough. A couple of years in, 4 or 5 years in, 6 years in, your child will start to develop this mindset that they're just used to being in those kind of positions and having those kind of days where another day like that is just another day like that. That's it, you know. And so to have students reach out to me or talk to me on the mat here and say, hey, you know, when did you used to start to click for me? Man, it clicked at different times, and then I feel like I sucked at different times. And like I said, I felt like that today. I mean, you're talking 3rd-degree black belt. You know, I train every single day. I run, I work out, I eat healthy, I watch jiu-jitsu, I study jiu-jitsu. You know, I try to get good sleep. Like, I try to do all the right things, and I'll still come in here and struggle. So I'm trying to put that in perspective for certain people out there. If you're training jiu-jitsu, like, that feeling of, like, my jiu-jitsu sucks and I don't think I'm any good is going to always be there from time to time. Not every day, but from time to time. And then you're going to have time periods where you're like, it's clicking for you, things are going really good, your sweeps, your passes, your submission game, things are on fire, things are like really good, and then boom, you're going to hit a wall because your teammates start to adjust to what you're doing, and then now nothing's working anymore. Now they're beating your game, now you have to adjust. And when the problem is when people have to adjust and they have to go to something new, they don't want to because it's out of their comfort zone. And now they're going to get smashed again because whatever you learn, when you're learning, trying something new, you're going to lose. You're going to get smashed. It's not going to work right away. And so it's a never-ending process of like just rebuilding, reconstruction. It's always under construction. It's like never finished. It's an unfinished product. It'll just never be finished, you know. And the minute that you think it is finished and you did learn and everything, then that's when your jiu-jitsu really is gonna suck and you're not gonna grow and develop, you know. I think that's why I said lately when I've been talking about through all these videos, when life gets tough is and you can handle it because of the way jiu-jitsu just puts you in so many different days like that where life just sucks on the mat. Like, it really does. Like I said, there's nothing else like it, like getting dominated by another human being and getting tapped out and getting smashed and beat up on the mats, and then have to come back the next day and come back for more and then wonder if it's going to be the same day, you know, the same way. And so, you know, the answer is for me, you know, I just love jiu-jitsu. I love what it does for me. I love being around the people in jiu-jitsu. So that's why I do jiu-jitsu, and that's what keeps me coming back even when I have those horrible days. You know, like I said, today I wouldn't say was all that bad. It wasn't all that great either. You know, I definitely felt like I could have did better. I just wasn't able to pull off whatever I wanted to pull off. Even though I felt really good today, I was like, man, you know, I did everything right. Again, good sleep, got up, had good breakfast, like watched like at least an hour of jiu-jitsu before class started, a bunch of different matches and everything, flow grappling. I mean, I was ready. Like I said, did good, had some good rounds, but then I had some really tough rounds where I was like really frustrated. But that's part of the process, and then I'll be back tomorrow. I mean, I have to teach class, but that doesn't mean I have to roll, but I roll in every class. So, you know, who knows what tomorrow's going to bring, but I'll be back on the mat. So whatever it is that you love about jiu-jitsu, you have to use that as the main driving force to bring you back to the mats versus, man, that was horrible. I got tapped out X amount of times. None of my passes worked. None of my sweeps worked. Every round sucked, and I don't want to do this anymore, and I want to quit. You know, again, I think everyone that's watching this video at one point can relate. If you train jiu-jitsu, of like when you're down and out and your mind is weak, whereas like the quitting in anything you do, when you lose, you just want to quit, right? Like you just want to give up. But that's just like a weak moment that you're having, and you just want to give up. But you're not really going to give up. You know you're going to come back and get more of it. And it's I guess one of the things about jiu-jitsu is like it's the craziest thing to want to that you want to come back and get more of what you just got, you know. it's good medicine. It's good humbling medicine. I mean, it's humble pie like like nothing else. I mean, it's something that I think everyone should have to taste, because it will check you and put you in place real quick. The minute that you think you're the bomb and you're the stuff and you're jiu-jitsu and you're all that, man, someone will check you real quick and put you right where you need to be at, And that's the beauty about jiu-jitsu. So I think every parent needs to keep their kid in jiu-jitsu and never take them out. And I think every adult that starts needs to see it all the way through, get your black belt. And even when you get your black belt, it's going to be, look at me. I got my black belt in 07, So, I mean, I've been black belt for a long time. And I'm still having these struggles. Danielle, for those that know Danielle, I think she's been training jiu-jitsu for 10 years. And we were just having this conversation yesterday. And she was telling me that she's just now feeling good with her jiu-jitsu. I mean, you're talking brown belt world champion, just won the Paris Open at black belt. She's got a long list of accolades like I do, and she's just now feeling good about her jiu-jitsu. I mean, that says a lot. That should tell you something right there, But why do you keep doing it? Why does she keep doing it? Danielle struggles on the mat just like everyone else. Everyone sees like how good she does, but they don't see like the struggles that she sees that I see her go through. But she's still training. She's still after it. You know what I mean? It's just something that you got to keep going through, and just, again, focus on why you love jiu-jitsu and use that as a driving force to keep going. And then as far as the tournaments go, I always get that question, hey, when did it click for you? When did things start to come together for you in tournaments? And the answer is kind of the same way. Every belt level, I had different highs and lows. The biggest advice I could give you is to just consistently compete. I mean, since I moved to Texas in 2002, I started competing at the end of 2002. I started competing in 2003, and I've never stopped. Obviously, there wasn't as many tournaments in those beginning years like there is now, but I never stopped competing. So I'm a seasoned competitor, and I still lose. Okay, so it's just one of those things like, there's a lot of studying involved. There's a lot of videos to watch, and obviously knowing the points and knowing the rules and how to strategize and how to put things together. But I mean, I'm a 3-time Master World Champion at black belt, a 4-time Master No-Gi World Champion. I just won the #1 ranking last year for Master 3 in IBJJF, and I'm still going to lose. If I keep competing, I'm going to still have wins and losses. Just because of what I accomplished and what I did doesn't mean that I'm never going to lose again. I know those losses are coming. It depends on what happens that day, how I feel that day, how my opponent strategy is versus mine. Am I going to make a mistake? Who knows? But you should compete because you love the challenge and you love what competing does for you. It definitely enhances your jiu-jitsu. It makes you better. There's no doubt about that it makes you better. And for me, it's just a challenge. It's just, I fought some of the best guys in the world. I've beat some of them, and I've lost to some of them. And it's just about that challenge. I fought all over the planet. I fought all over in all kind of countries, and I just love doing that. It's just something that I've always loved to do. I've always competed at some point in whatever sport. And, if you're a competitor and you really want to win and you want things to click for you, you have to just consistently compete. If you're not a consistent competitor, you're not really going to get seasoned. You're just not really going to know the ins and outs of the square of the ring, how to fight inside that ring against certain opponents and know how to win. If you're taking breaks, you're kind of a hit and miss kind of competitor, it's going to be tough for you because you're just never really just kind of sharpening that up. You got to sharpen that up just like you do in practice, So it's just one of those things, like, things click for me at certain times, and then I've made huge mistakes, and I've lost when I thought I had certain matches in the bag, and I thought I was going to take it home, and I didn't. I've had some really devastating losses to where it kind of puts things in perspective for me, kind of puts me in check just tells me, hey, I got to get back to the gym and work harder, even though I did everything right. I did all the runs, did all the workouts. I picked all the tough training partners that I could pick. I cut the weight, and then I still lose. I mean, that sucks, man. I mean, that just really sucks. But that's not why I'm competing. Why I'm competing is because I just like to compete, So if you're a competitor and you want to know when things are going to click for you, you really won't know that answer until you just consistently just keep competing. Like it'll come if you keep competing, but it'll never come if you quit, right? So if you take that break and you're taking those losses and you're saying, well, I lost, I'm going to give it a rest, and your family's giving it a rest, and why are you doing this, and blah, 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 it'll really just never really work out for you. And even I have friends that have just been consistently competing, and they haven't really found that groove yet. They haven't really found that stride to get in the win column. But I know it's coming for them because they're relentless on this competition thing, So eventually their day is going to come. But if they quit, it'll never come, So for anyone out there that's just struggling with their jiu-jitsu right now, struggling with some competition, some losses, the answer is to just keep training. I mean, really it is. Keep training and focus on why it is that you love jiu-jitsu. If you compare yourself to other people, if you compare yourself to another competitor, if you're putting all your emphasis on, a gold medal or, whatever, you're going to get so frustrated that you're just going to want to throw in a towel and quit. But if you think about the benefits of jiu-jitsu, why jiu-jitsu is why you love it, why you keep coming back, and the people that are in jiu-jitsu and how it makes you feel. Of course, it makes you feel crappy because of the bad days that you have. But how many bad days are like that? Is every day a bad day? I don't think so. I think you come in on the mats, whether you train here or somewhere else, and you have some good days. And you got to take those with the bad. And I think that's why jiu-jitsu relates so much to life, is because it's just the way it is, man. Some days it's really sunny and bright and everything's lovely, and then some days it's just storms everywhere, and it's horrific outside, and you just life's throwing you a bunch of curveballs. So again, if you're struggling, just get back to the mats, get to training, ask some questions. For me, I've always asked questions. That really, really helped. And I took notes. And I studied. So if you're not taking notes, you're not watching your own film study, and you're not watching film study on like other competitors out there that whatever, you're kind of behind the 8 ball on that too, right? So, I did all those things all through the process of white to black belt, and I still do it. Like I said, I spent an hour this morning studying jiu-jitsu before I came in and trained. It helped a little bit, but I just still didn't get the things to work out the way I really wanted them to work out, So just wanted to share some of that with you. I think coming from someone like me that's been training so long and been competing for so long, and I still struggle, and I have the accolades that I do have, and I've done the things that I've done, and I'm still struggling, that should put your mind at ease a little bit, to be like, well, man, this guy's been training this long, he's been competing this long, he's won all these things, and he's still having bad days. He's still struggling on the mats. He's still dealing with issues like I'm dealing with. So just understand that it's never, ever going to go away. You're always under construction, and you're just, it's just a never-ending road of just rebuilding and just trying to get better, So, again, focus on why you love jiu-jitsu and just keep on training and keep coming back. And I just, this is one of the things, like I said, with the Eric Thomas thing, you're already in pain, get a reward from it, right? You're already struggling, get a reward from it, meaning like try to come back and get better, try to get to the next level, whether it's stripes or your belt, and everyone's goal should be make it to black belt, right? Make it to black belt. Like at least get the black belt around your waist so that you can at least have something to look back on and be like, man, I went through all this stuff for all these years, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, or however long it took you to get your black belt, and be like, man, I did it. Like I did it. And then you start all over again, and it's a whole new process at black belt, because there's definitely levels at black belt for sure. So, it's never ending. But at least you can look back and one day and be like, man, I put myself through all this stuff, which is it's good for us. It's humbling, and you're learning how to deal with frustrations and tough challenges and things in life, and get a reward from it, get a black belt. You know what I mean? And that's why I think I respect so many people that do have black belts, is because coming from legit schools and legit instructors and different legit atmospheres that they trained in, I can respect the fact, like, hey, I know that person went through what I went through. Some people no doubt have to struggle more than others, but either way, I don't care how good you are, how athletic, how talented you are, you're getting tapped and you're struggling just like the next person. You know what I mean? So anyways, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my Sunday. You guys have a great afternoon. I'll talk to you guys next time.